Wow. Hello, everybody. You know, this was supposed to be a little gathering in like a plant. This was supposed to be just a little gathering. This is a lot of people outside trying to get in. Well, I want to thank everybody, and I want to say here a very, very special hello to Scranton and also to Pennsylvania. Can you all hear me? Yeah. Turn this sucker up, please. Turn it up. Get this mic turned up, because I heard somebody say louder. I've never had that. I've never heard that before. Turn it up. It's great to be back in the beautiful Commonwealth with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. Just 27 days from now, we are going to win Pennsylvania. We are going to defeat Lion Kamala Harris. Lion Kamala, she's a liar. We're going to make America great again, right? And as you know, early voting is underway, so when the polls open tomorrow, we're here, we're finally here. And you know, we're way up in your... I want to say, look, let's do it this way. The main thing is to win. Let's say we're 1 point down. I don't want to tell you. We're actually up. But I want to say we're 1 point down. Everybody get to the polls so we get these horrible politicians out of there. We want to get rid of them. No, we're actually up in the polls in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Arizona just came out. We're up in Arizona very substantially. We're way up in the polls, and the only place we're down, New York Times has a headline that we're down a little bit. But they're the only poll. Every poll, you got to see these polls. They're the best polls. New York Times is, we call it the failing New York Times. It's fake news. These people are sick. You remember in 2016, they had to do an editorial apologizing to their readers because they said, he's going to lose, he's going to lose. I swear he's going to lose. And then I won, and they lost thousands and thousands of, I love that, going to happen again. No, I came on today to the plane, and Susie and everybody says, sir, you're up in this poll, you're up in this poll, you're up in this poll, you're up in every poll. And then I picked up the New York Times. It said, I'm losing by a whisker. They hope. They hope. No, they're fake news. You know, they're all fake news, these people. They're totally crooked. They're so crooked. They're the enemy of the people. They are. They are the enemy of the people. So get everyone you know and vote immediately, because that's the only one that counts, you know. November 5th, that's called our big poll. That's the real poll, right? And they're going to cheat like hell and everything else. You know, if they only cheat a lot, we're in great shape. But if they cheat in record-setting numbers, which they're capable of doing, I can't promise, but they are cheaters. That's the way they do. When they have their first meetings, our first meeting is, where would be a good place to go? How about Scranton? You know what their first meeting is? Their first meeting is, how do we cheat? How do we cheat? That's all they, because, you know, when you think about it, who can win with high taxes, open borders, allowing murderers to come in? You saw that last week? 13,099 murderers allowed to come in through them. Over 13, many of them have murdered more than one person. Is there anybody in the audience that's in that group, please? Because if they are, we want to get the hell out of here, or get him out of here. If we win Pennsylvania, we win the whole thing. It's very simple. And your taxes will come down, and your safety will go up. But we had an incredible evening here on Saturday. You probably heard about it. Maybe some did, maybe some didn't. I don't know. It was in a beautiful place called Butler, Pennsylvania. And we were celebrating the brave firefighter, Corey, who sacrificed his life in the attack 12 weeks ago now already. And he really was. He jumped on top of his wife and daughters. He got hit, right? He got hit. Two other gentlemen, all Trumpers, I mean, to the nth degree, all Trumpers, but two others got hit too. They said they were dead. They weren't going to make it. And the doctors, you have very good doctors in Pennsylvania, I tell you. They're doing well. They're doing well. how many, I said, as I was getting up, before I even got up, I said, how many people were killed? Because, you know, it was wall-to-wall people. And I said, how many people were killed? They said, we think 3, sir. And I said, that's not good. And yet, I must tell you, it was like this, and this maniac was firing bullets all over the place. I heard him go right over my head, too, but it was just terrible. But they said, how many? They said 3, and then the 2 went, and they had unbelievable talent in the form of doctors, 2 separate doctors, and they saved their lives. But Corey was hit bad. He was hit hard. He was hit hard. But I thought what I'd do. You know, one thing, and I didn't want to say it the other night, it wouldn't have been appropriate, but one thing nice, that we raised a little money for Corey, and you know what it ended up being? For his family. For his family, it's beautiful. Like, I think around $5 million, right? $5 million. And a friend of mine, a pretty wealthy guy, he said, do you mind if I give a check to the family of Corey? I said, you can do that if you want. How much? He said $1 million, and he handed me a check for $1 million. And then they raised another like $4 million, and we also gave some, or we were going to give some to the 2 gentlemen that got badly hurt. They got badly hurt. But we raised $4.5–5 million for the family. So I think it's good, and that's out of love for what they do. I mean, you know, this is the greatest movement in the history of our country, and we have to take care of our people, right? We have to take care of our people. You know, it is true. And, you know, look at all that fake news back there. You know, I say that all the time. And, you know, if I'm a little bit off with the statement, they say, Donald Trump, you know, he lied, it was terrible. Now, you have lying Kamala. She lies about everything, including where she worked. Remember? I worked so hard at McDonald's, it was unbelievable. I stood over the French fries all summer, winter, fall, spring. She never worked there. She lied. You know the beauty of that? They'll say, oh, it's so terrible to bring that up. It's so simple. No, David, the beauty of that, it's so simple. It's so easy to understand. She said she worked like a dog in McDonald's, and it never happened. She didn't work there. That's better than some complex, long story that I have to, before we get to the fact that she's a no-good liar. But you know what's more important about her? I don't like her. You know what's more important about her? She's just led the worst rescue operation in history in North Carolina. The worst. And we have another big one coming in, but the worst, the one in North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Virginia, was pieces of Florida got hit. I mean, it's incredible. The worst ever, they say. They had no money. You know where they gave the money? To illegal immigrants coming in, many of whom are killers, many of whom are drug dealers, many of whom are gang members, and many of whom came out of prisons from all over the world. You know, they come out of prisons all over the world, and they drop them in our country. And you know that the prison population all over the world is down because they put them in our country. They come from the Congo in Africa, many prisoners from the Congo. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It's lovely to have you. They come from the Congo. They come from the Middle East. They come from Asia. They come from all over the world. They also come from South America, but not as many as you think, a lot. But, you know, everyone thinks they come from a few countries in South. No, they're coming from all over the world. They're dumping them in our country because they think we have stupid people leading our country. And on that, I agree with them. Sleepy Joe. Although Joe's looking pretty good lately, I tell you, he's looking pretty good compared to Kamala, I say, right? First time, I said, you know, this guy's starting to look sharper. He's starting to look sharper because we're comparing it, and he's angry at her, and he hates her. The only question is, I think he hates her almost as much as he hates me. No. And I think he might be willing to. He can't take much more. It was an overthrow, okay? It was an overthrow. And he's having a hard time saying, you know, he did it voluntarily. He didn't. They pulled out, You know what they did, right? Article what? 25. That's what they did. And they said, you're sick, you're not going to go on. He got 14 million votes. He got 14, think of it. He got 14, she got none. And this was really, this was an overthrow. This is the first overthrow, or you could call it a coup. Do you want to call it a coup? This was the first coup in the history of America. David, you're an expert on this stuff, right? Wouldn't you say? First coup in the history of America. But look, I say to all Pennsylvania patriots, we have to, I just said, do me a favor, you got to see this, because we had over 100,000 people in a beautiful area, but not exactly highly populated. They came from all over, 100,000 people on Saturday night. Take a look. That's something, huh? Isn't that something? We have some very big ones coming. We have some very big ones coming. We just rented Madison Square Garden. We're going to make a play. We're going to make a play for New York. Hasn't been done in a long time. It hasn't been done in many decades, but we're going to make, how could New York be run worse than it is, right? With all the problem, everything is corrupt in New York, and we're going to make a play, and let's see. I mean, I think that, you know, the migrants have taken over Madison Avenue. They've taken over Fifth Avenue. They've taken over the parks. The kids can't play Little League. You know, it sounds like a trivial thing. It's a big deal when you have a son that's a Little League player and he can't play. So we're going to go Madison Square Garden. We went to the Coliseum, Nassau Coliseum. We could have filled up the Nassau Coliseum 3 times. It was incredible. We left there a few weeks ago. It was incredible. So we're doing Madison Square. We're going to go to the arena in Atlanta, if we can get it. We're going to go to the arena in New Jersey, if we can get it. You have to get it. But we're doing arenas because the crowds are so big. And we're making a play for New Jersey. We're making a play for Virginia. We're making a play for New York. New Mexico. Minnesota, where this lunatic comes from. I'm doing well, and you know why I'm doing well in Minnesota? Because he's running. It's supposed to be the opposite way, right? If Kamala Harris gets 4 more years, she will annihilate the Pennsylvania energy industry, plunging communities across the Commonwealth into darkness and despair. That's what's going to happen. Your jobs will be down, and your salaries will follow. Congratulations, everybody. It's not going to let it happen. We're not going to let her destroy. You know, she destroyed San Francisco. We're not going to let her destroy this country. She shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be. You know, how would you like to be me? We spent $150 million destroying Biden, which wasn't that hard, actually. All you had to do is hold up his record. But we had the debate, and then after the debate, he was down so much, and they went to him, and that's when they went to him. So we get rid of him. This is like a fighter. A fighter's doing badly. He's losing badly. And Dana White says, well, you know what I'll do? I'll put in another fighter to fight. You got to take 2 people. And so now they put this total Marxist, communist person in there. But people have figured it out. She had a very bad day yesterday, and we're going to talk about that. She had a bad day. She had a bad day. Kamala Harris was one of the original sponsors of the socialist Green New scam. You know that. Where they want to spend $93 billion. 93. No, they want to spend, actually, she's spending $93 billion in a short, but their ultimate plan is for $94 trillion to be spent. 94, listen to this. That's more than China and the rest of the world could spend if they really wanted to in 25 years. 94 trillion, we're going to clean the air so that when China comes here and takes us over, they'll have a nice, clear atmosphere, because that's what they're doing. They're sacrificing our military and everything else. These people are crazy. She said repeatedly that she wants to ban fracking her whole life. We will ban fracking. We will stop. You know, I flew over some of those beautiful windmills. They're falling down, by the way. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. That gorgeous, beautiful Pennsylvania countryside. They got these big, ugly suckers hanging down. They're rusting and rotting. Half of them weren't spinning, and the ones that were going so slow. They were going, it's not too windy, but, you know, they're going like slow. The other ones were just dead. But they're all rusting and disgusting looking. And then, you know, the environmentalists say that it's also, very importantly, the most expensive form of energy there is. You cannot get more expensive. The wind, it sounds so wonderful. The wind is bullshit. I'll tell you, it's horrible. So expensive. It's just too expensive. It doesn't work. All of that to do, you know, 1/10 of 1%. I mean, the whole thing is crazy. You remember when I used to say, darling, I want to watch our president tonight on television. And the husband looks, I'm sorry, dear. The windmills aren't wind. There's no wind tonight. You can't watch, darling. We're not going to be watching tonight. Maybe we'll catch him another time. No, we have to be careful. We have to be smart. We're going to lose our country. These people are crazy. They're crazy. They're damn crazy. We're going to get out, we're going to vote. We'll get it cleaned up. But if we don't clean it up now, it's going to be too late. I really believe it. We don't clean it up now, it's going to be too late. She sponsored a bill to impose a 100% ban on gasoline-powered cars and trucks. You know that, right? 100%, there's none. Even though we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation, by far, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia. Let's go electric. Let's do this. They want to go now hydrogen. They want a hydrogen car. You know what the problem is? When they blow up, you are unrecognizable. If this beautiful young woman is in the car, drive it, and the hydrogen car, if it blows up, you're unrecognizable. You with a nice Trump sign. Is that Trump? Stand up, let me say. Oh, I like her. I like her. I will not allow her to go into a hydrogen car. They don't blow up that often. They were saying, that, yeah, but they don't blow up that often. Oh, great. Thank you very much. And as we speak, Kamala is crushing Pennsylvania with a natural gas export ban. You know about that, right? Designed to choke the life out of your fossil fuel industry. Listen to Kamala in her own words very recently.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. I am committed to passing a Green New Deal and finally putting an end to fracking once and for all. If they fail to act as President of the United States, I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal. I am offering a Green New Deal that has been described as one of the most aggressive and progressive.
Well, he's going to bring the Green New Deal up for a vote.
Yeah, I will vote for it. It is a resolution. I believe that the underlying principles behind it are sound and important.
What is the solution for voters who have jobs and interests in the fossil fuel industry?
Giving the workers an ability to transition into the jobs of the future.
Can we afford it?
Of course we can afford it. It's not about a cost.
Kamala Harris pushed the far-left Green New Deal. That means huge new taxes, increased utility bills, and banning gas cars.
That's why I am committed to passing a Green New Deal and finally putting an end to fracking once and for all.
Kamala just don't give a frack.
Kamala's fracking ban would kill jobs and raise gas prices. Kamala doesn't give a frack about you. Only President Trump will bring back Trump's strong economy.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Thank you. So when I'm president of the United States, and we did one great job. We did great in 2016. We actually did much better in 2020, but we're going to be very careful. We're not going to let that happen again. On day one, I will tell Pennsylvania energy workers to frack, 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 and drill, 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 baby, drill. We're going to frack, frack, frack. We will have energy independence and energy dominance as we did just 4 short years ago. We were energy independent 4 years ago. Can you believe? Now we get our energy from Venezuela. What's that all about? From Venezuela. Isn't that wonderful? But if Kamala is reelected, your costs will go up and your lights will go out. That's what's going to happen. These stupid people. It's hard to believe. You know, you get angry because sometimes you get, and you want to be lighthearted, right? And we have a great audience that people that love the country, people that built the country. You built the country. And then you see these people, they want to destroy it. And by the end of your speech, you're furious. You're furious because all the stuff that we're saying, it's true. They want to destroy the country. Remember, she will never, ever let you frack. You're not going to frack. If she won, you're not going to frack. She's been against it her whole life. She just did this for an election. Even now, Kamala's Green New Deal mandates are regulations that are impossible to enforce. As an example, forcing power plants to shut down all across the country. More than 50 plants have recently been closed. So she took office, and they are not going to be replaced. And all you have to do with her is say, like, all the things. She's going to do this, she's going to do that. Why the hell didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it? All of a sudden, she likes walls. I built over 500 miles of wall. It kept us. We had the greatest border in history. 4 years ago, we had the best border in our country's history, and that included human trafficking, mostly in women, by the way. So when women say, oh, I don't know if I like Trump, I was the one. That is the most heinous thing. Human trafficking, mostly in women. Gee, I wonder what that's all about, right? And then they say, oh, I don't know, Kamala's not going to protect anyone. They've allowed this country to be poisoned at our border. And a lot of people say, and this is not part of the deal, but I like to go off teleprompter if you don't mind. I actually haven't, I don't think I've been on it yet. I haven't. They're waiting for me. At some point, I'll be on it. But they're doing these things. Nobody can understand it. It doesn't make sense, like men playing in women's sports, like open borders where criminals are allowed in. And literally, by the time, I must be very good as a motivator, because by the time I finish my speeches, every time I'm angry as hell, because I can't believe what's happening to our country, what they're doing to our country. Last year, Pennsylvania's largest coal-fired power plant shut down in Homer City, throwing hundreds and hundreds of workers out, just devastating. They got nothing. A small little community of 1,800 people. Does anyone know where Homer is? Homer? Huh? Right? Stand up. Let me see you. Look at that. Are you the man? I remember. That guy's become famous. Wow. Are you the guy, right? Behind me? Right behind me? You're the guy that was looking, you're looking. The guy? Oh, I love this guy. What's your first name? What's your name? This guy, he became more famous than me because, okay. Do we have time? Yes. The hell with these things. They're boring. Very boring. No, this guy, he was the guy. No, I'm looking at him in the audience. I see him. But when the shots were fired, typically crowd control people, everyone flees. Now, in all fairness to the people sitting here, we had a tremendous crowd that horrible day, actually, horrible day. But we had a tremendous crowd. He was behind me with a group of people 2-3 times the size of this. It was bleachers. But 99% of the audience was out there. But this guy was standing up. So they say that when a shot is fired in a stadium like a soccer game, everyone, they call them stampede. They stampede, they get out, and a lot of people get killed. They get crushed, they get stepped on. Nobody left there with the big crowd or there, but him. I don't want to say in particular because nobody left. Nobody left those stands. Normally, and there were a lot of shots being fired. There were 8 shots being fired right over me. But what happened is we look back, and it's such a famous thing now, and there's one guy that's standing. I didn't know you were going to be, and I didn't know he was going to be here. They gave you a good seat. They should give you a good seat. So listen to this. Right? So this man, and he's back a few rows, and next to a woman who was very brave too. And he's standing, he's not only not leaving, he's standing up. And he's looking, he wants to find it, because he knows. He saw a lot of blood all of a sudden, and he knew what happened. And all he cared about is, I want to get that guy. But then our sniper took him out. And by the way, the local police too, they did a good job. The local police did a good job. But that guy, I said, there's a guy, David, I said, there's a guy I want in the foxhole, right? We want him in the foxhole with me if we're ever in a foxhole. Because he stood up, he didn't care about the bullets, he was standing, all he wanted to do is find that guy. He said, there's a guy over there. And you had some other people too. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Great honor. Thank you. I love people like that. I love people like that. He's like a movie star. You know, he's become a movie star, I'm telling you. We love him. The head of the plant at Homer City said that Kamala's EPA had imposed a, quote, excessive economic and operational burden. It wasn't possible to keep it open. It's being done on purpose. They're taking plants that are perfectly good, that are not polluting any more than anything else would, and they're closing them up, and they're forcing you to use energy that's 10 times and 20 times more expensive and doesn't even work. One local businesswoman said that her life had been turned upside down by what happened, and a local union leader called the closure, quote, absolutely devastating and totally unnecessary. And I hope whoever owns that plant can just keep it around for a few months, just keep going, because we're going to let that plant go for a long time, okay? So you got to tell them, Homer, you don't have long to go. I actually told the people in North Carolina who have been just devastated, I told them, I said, look, just hang in for a few months. You know, it's tough to say, hang in for a few months. But we take office on January 20th. I said, everything will be beautiful once I take office. Everything's going to... They spent all their funds. They have no funds to take care. They have no funds. They have no workers. They have no nothing. FEMA, we had such a good FEMA. FEMA was great under Trump, that I can tell you. We had tremendous success. Under these demented and self-destructive Kamala Harris policies, Pennsylvania electricity prices are up 50% and are projected to rise by another 50% this year. So you're going to be up 100%. Does anybody mind? No, you're making a contribution to the environment, right? Except you won't have any money left, you won't have a house left, you won't have a country left, you won't have a commonwealth left. Even the grid operators themselves say that if the insanity continues, Kamala will crush the electrical grid of the United States of America. But we will not let her do it, will we? We're not going to let her do it. She's bad news. She doesn't even know where the hell she is. They ask her a question, she's like a vacuum. What? No, I don't want to be nice, you know. Somebody said, you should be nicer. Women won't like it. I said, I don't care. No, they say that. A guy came up to me today. He said, sir, you really should be nicer to her. The women won't like it. The women want safety, and the women want to have a country that they can be proud of, I think. Anyway, so today I make Pennsylvania this promise. I will stop the energy price hikes. I will stop the plant closures immediately, and we will restart the plants that Kamala has very cruelly closed. I mean, you know, they don't know. They have thousands of jobs involved, people that have worked there for 25 years or longer, and we're not going to let it happen. I will terminate the Green New scam immediately. I want the cleanest water. You know, I don't know if you know, in my 2 last years, we had the cleanest water we've ever had, we had the cleanest air we've ever had, and we had the most jobs and the most factories working that we've ever had. And the jobs they picked up were what called bounce-back jobs. They were bounce-back. They were the people that took off for the COVID, the gift, I call it the China virus because I want to be accurate, and they bounced back. I will end the destruction of our electrical grid. They are destroying our grid. It's already in bad shape, I'll tell you right now, but they are destroying. Isn't it amazing? We don't have any electricity, but they want to go all electric cars. Think of that. Now think, these are, I'm just thinking, we're talking about all electric, and I love electric cars. You know why? Because I think Elon is great. But you know what? I like them for what the market is. There's a market. I think they're great. I think it's incredible. But the long distances and they are more expensive to make, and a lot of them are going to be made in China. But you know the amazing thing about Elon Musk? He went to that rally. I think he had the greatest time he's ever had. Did you see him? He was jumping around. He was so happy. You know, he's always like, I envision him, he's sort of a reclusive kind of a guy. He's incredible. He's a total genius. We have to take care of our geniuses. But he comes up, and he's looking at this crowd. He's never seen anything like it. And he started doing like jumping jacks and stuff. No, he was just happy. I said, what's he doing back there? I was just giving him a quick introduction. He had a great time. And you know, he got a black hat. I didn't even know we made black hats. And it said, Make America Great Again, but it was very low, you know, very sort of understated, but a black hat. He loves that hat, and he called it Dark MAGA, right? Who thinks of this? Dark MAGA. And I called him, I told him, thank you very much. We sold like 10,000 hats in the last 2 days. I didn't even know we made that hat. Now I find out it's like the hottest thing going, Dark MAGA. No, he's fantastic, and he's gonna do a lot. He's gonna be involved. He's great, and he's gonna be involved because we have so much fat in this country. We have so much waste and fat and fraud. But he's also, I will tell you, you know, there is the funny thing with Elon. He never, with all I talk about electric cars, and I'm totally for electric cars for the, you know, whatever the buyer wants to buy. That's good. But if you can't force them down people's throats, you can't do that. Like the mandate, we're not doing mandates. So you can't do that. So just so you understand, so he never wants, and he's a friend of mine. He's great. He endorsed me. He endorses me so much. We have to get him. Trump. We're gonna lose our country if Trump. You know, he's in Pennsylvania now campaigning, Elon Musk, because he feels so strongly. But you know the amazing thing, a big company is Tesla. It makes great cars. Great. I mean, it made really amazing cars. He never once said, could you ease up on the electric thing? You would think he would have said, hey, listen, do me a favor. I could take it out pretty easily, right? It's a sentence. It's a sentence in a speech. But he never asked me to, because I think he knows I'm right. He's going to do great, and there's people that like him. I like him, too, for certain applications. But he never think of it. And he's close to me. He never said, do me one favor, just sort of low-key. I would, if I were him, I'd be saying, hey, listen, Trump, do me a favor. Don't mention electric cars again. That you're going to do away. And we're not doing away. We're going to have whatever the market wants. We're going to have gasoline power. We're going to have hybrids. The hybrids are great. They're working good. We're going to have everything. We will make Pennsylvania an energy supplier to the entire world, and I will cut your energy prices in half, 50%, 50, within 12 months of taking office. Your prices will be cut in half. Now, she, on the other hand, if her mandate, look, number one, you won't have any energy because they can't produce enough. No matter what they did, they can't produce under what she wants to do. But even if they did, your prices are going to be double, triple, quadruple. You're not going to be able to afford them. We have more, we have more liquid gold than any country in the world. It's going to be so quick and so easy to do. We have more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than any country in the world. And we're going to take advantage of it if that's okay. And it's pure, sweet, beautiful stuff. But for that to happen, the people of Pennsylvania have to tell Kamala Harris that we've had enough. We think you're a horrible person. We think you're a liar. And right? We think you're a liar. We think you're not a smart person. And we're tired of having stupid people run our country. And we're going to say, Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here. Get the hell out. Despite all of the devastation she's caused your Commonwealth, and, you know, she said yesterday she has no regrets. Did you see that? You'll see it in just about 2 seconds. Go ahead, put it on.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
I think the other one asking the question is dumber than Kamala. So she's a dummy. I watched her over the years. That is one dumb woman. Sorry. I'm sorry, women. She's a dummy. The only one that agrees with that more than me are the women in the audience. So think of this, what she said. No, I can't think of anything. Did you see she froze? Did you see where her teleprompter went out? Her teleprompter went out, and she said it was 32 days or something before the election. So she said, 32, 32, 32, 32, 32. She was freaked out. Thank God that sucker went back on. I would have been, I don't know what she would have jumped off the stage. Now, when you do this stuff, I would say probably about 15% of the time, the teleprompters, they go out. And either can you imagine it goes out for Joe Biden? He's no good with the teleprompter blazing, right? No, it's gone out with him a couple of, you know what he does? He stops, looks around, and he walks off. But he can never find the stair, so it's a problem. He's looking around for stairs. Has anyone seen a stairway? We have more stairs than these platforms. I don't know what the hell it is. It must be a fire problem. There's like 6 stairs. And do you ever notice he can never find his way off the platform? Secret Service does a great job in that respect. They come up, they get him, they walk him off. But he looks better, I'm telling you. As I said, he looks better now than I've ever seen him looking. He's angry. He's angry at her. There's going to be an explosion before the election with them. Those two are going to be, there's going to be an explosion. Did you see he held a news conference right in the middle of her one big event that she's had in about 2 weeks? He got up and held a news conference. He walked into the room. Nobody ever does that. He walked into the room and, this is a news conference. Oh. And then he just died after, but it didn't matter. Can you believe that our country is being run by these people? Can you believe it? So she said she had no regrets, everything great. She'd do the same thing as this guy, right? This really sad, pathetic guy. So after the surrender of our energy independence, the Afghanistan, horrible, most embarrassing moment in history. We lost 13 soldiers, great soldiers. We left billions and billions of dollars behind. We left Americans behind. You have Americans right now in Afghanistan, and they cannot be happy, right? Many are probably dead. The border invasion, right? The border invasion. How about the 13,099 illegal aliens convicted of murder? They're roaming free. That's okay. In other words, these are all things that are okay. These are all things that are okay. How about, to me, the worst of all, because it's not even imaginable, she's lost, during her 3.5 years, 325,000 migrant children. They're gone. Nobody knows where they are. Many are dead. I would say most are dead. We don't know. We probably won't find out. But many are dead. Most are dead. Many are in sex slavery. Many are in slavery, but there are many dead. 325,000 young kids. Think of it. You could fill up Yankee Stadium many, many times. Think of that. Many, many times. 325,000. They're gone. Nobody, the parents want them back. Nobody even talks about it. The fake news doesn't talk about it. It's this, in terms of humanity, this is bigger than anything you can even imagine, right? This is the biggest thing. And she thinks it's okay because she said, no, I don't think I changed anything. All of this stuff would have stopped. The worst inflation in the history of our country, costing everybody a minimum of $29,000 per family, price hikes that cost a typical family. Think of that. No, she wouldn't change. $29,000. People don't have that money. The inflation has really destroyed the middle class. The elderly and people on fixed incomes are decimated. See, just think of it, our middle class. How about Ukraine? If I were president, there never would have been a war. You wouldn't even know what Ukraine is. There would have never been a war. Putin wouldn't have done it. Putin wouldn't have done it. And that was okay with her. You remember what she said? She said, no. She didn't know where the hell she was. She said, no, I'm fine. No, I wouldn't have done nothing. How about the October 7th attack on Israel? That would have never happened. How about the fact that the United States is a laughingstock all over the world, right? How about she failed on the witch hunts against her political opponent, me? The first time that they've ever done that. They do it in other countries, like in third world, banana republics. The witch hunts, I call it the witch hunts against Trump. The one in Florida was thrown out, and yet Biden's document case, they ruled on him. They said he's guilty, right? Oh, he had documents for 50 years. He should, and I had the Presidential Records Act. I was totally allowed to do it. Anyway, my case was won. He lost his case. What they said is that he's incompetent, essentially. They said he's got no memory and all sorts of other things, and therefore we shouldn't send him to court. They said he wasn't fit to stand trial, but he's allowed to be the President of the United States. Okay? No, think of that. Here's the ruling. He's not fit. He's got no memory, and he's in trouble. But he can run the presidency, but he cannot stand trial. They released him on the basis of that. The trillions of wasted dollars on the Green New scam, all that money is not only wasted, it set us way back, way back. And the worst hurricane response since Katrina. She doesn't want to have a do-over with what's happened to North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, all the states that we just mentioned. Kamala Harris could not think of one thing that she would do differently. And you know, it's strange, because when I saw that question, I said, oh, this is going to be a long answer. Because she could have done it in a nice way. I wish I would have done this on the border. I wish we would have closed up the border. I wish we didn't have the horrific acts of violence against all of those children and all of the things. She could have really done. And I said, well, this will be a good answer. She didn't know what the hell to say. But think of it. It was a softball question. It was meant that she was, and she said, no, I would have done everything. So all of the agony, all of the suffering, all of the inflation and the border and the criminals coming into our country, she wouldn't have done anything different than this guy that should have really never been president, in my opinion, should have never been president. So she said that there would be nothing, and to me that is a disqualifying answer. That should disqualify her from even running. If that's going to be the case, she should be disqualified from even running. She's an incompetent person. She's grossly incompetent. She cannot be trusted, and she is totally ill-equipped to do the job of being President of the United States. Let me tell you, I know all of them. I know President Xi, I know Putin, I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Biden, he said, oh, that's a tough situation in North Korea. We had no problem. I got along with him very good. A little rough start, right? Remember? Little rocket man. Remember when he said, I have a red button on my desk? That was a very threatening sound. I have a red button on my desk. I said, I have a red button on mine too, but mine's much bigger and mine works. Okay? And then he called me and he asked for a meeting, and we had a meeting. First time anyone's ever met. I said to Barack Hussein Obama, has anyone ever heard of Barack Obama? Barack? Remember Rush Limbaugh? He used to go, Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Hussein Obama. No. But he told me that the toughest thing when we sit before it's a beautiful thing, actually. You know, the president sits with a new president coming in. He said the biggest problem we have by far is North Korea. We didn't have a problem with North Korea, believe me. You may have in the future if you have stupid people running our country, but we had no problem. I met with him. It was a big deal that I met with him a second time. We were on our way to doing something fine. But he's got, he's got tremendous nuclear power. Somebody let him get there. Our country just went through 4 years of really a horror show, and we cannot have 4 more years. We just had a man who's grossly incompetent as our president, and now we have a woman who is actually, in my opinion, worse than him. I believe she's worse than him. And we can't allow it to happen. Now, I had this done because, our military is great. I knocked out ISIS. They said it would take 4 to 5 years. I did it in about a month, right? And we knocked them out. General Raisin Kane, this is a tough guy. Our military is great. And then I go on woke. You could put them in a woke room and scream at them for 2.5 years. They'd walk out and they'd say, let me at them. These are not woke people. But I had this little clip, and I thought you'd find it very interesting. It's the military of the past. Let's call it the Trump military, compared to the very woke military that we have now. I think you'll get a kick out of it.
You little scumbag! I got your name! I got your ass! You will not laugh! You will not cry! You will learn by the numbers!
Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride.
So you're a killer? Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face! Sir, you got a war face? Ah! That's a war face! Now let me see your war face! Ah! Bullshit! You didn't convince me! Let me see your real war face! Ah!
I hear it and I know, I know you wanna take.
You will be a weapon. You will be a minister of death, praying for war. But until that day, you are pukes. You are the lowest form of life on earth. You are not even human fucking beings. You are nothing but unorganized, grabastic pieces of amphibian shit.
How to abracadabra, these bitches know I got answers the way I...
It looks to me like the best part of you ran down the crack of your mama's ass and ended up as a brown stain on the mattress. I love working for Uncle Sam.
I love working for Uncle Sam.
Let me know just who I am.
Lets me know just who I am.
1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps.
1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps.
So, it's a little exaggeration. Probably really not that much, actually. But what's happening to our country is we have to preserve our country. Pennsylvania cannot let this woman become the president of the United States. She's the taxing queen. She's going to raise your taxes, where you're going to be at least paying at least $3,000 a year more. Take a look.
Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax bill. And on day one, I will repeal that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to work to get rid of that tax cut. Joe and I are about to get rid of that tax bill. Joe Biden and I are about to get rid of that tax cut.
Everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate.
I think that's fantastic. We've got to increase the corporate tax rate. Part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill that they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up. We will tax capital gains, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes.
It's just a new way of looking at things, to say, we're going to tax what you don't have. That's a sore point, and it's a big deal. Is that something you think she firmly believes in?
I think it's part of the proposals of the campaign.
Taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word.
I think that this reaction to unrealized gains is a little funny, given that I bet that the majority of people watching right now are already paying a tax on unrealized gains. It's called a property tax. When the value of your home goes up,
it's a use tax.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way the stock moves, the way something else moves.
That's always the go-to answer.
Under my plan, there will also be a carbon fee. There has to be some connection between the fee and bad behaviors, and there has to be, in that we have to monitor whether it's going to be passed on to consumers. But I'm going to tell you that should never be the reason not to actually put a fee, and in particular, a carbon fee.
Kamala Harris is going to significantly raise taxes
taxes are going to have to go up?
Kamala's plan will raise families' taxes by nearly $2,600 a year. Under Kamala, prices have already soared. Now she'd make it worse with even higher taxes.
Taxes are going to have to go up?
President Trump will cut taxes again. No taxes on tips, overtime, or Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Yeah, we're going to cut your taxes. I've been involved in politics, not that long on this side, but I've been involved. I've never seen anybody campaign and we're going to raise your taxes. That's what they're doing. The world is going crazy. It's just going. But David, we're going to cut taxes. Do you agree? David is going to win. You got to get him. You got to get him. I want him to come with me, please. He's great. He'll be one of the best. A real hero. Kamala will deliver a 1929-style depression, not recession. I will deliver lower taxes, lower regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, low inflation, and the greatest economy in the history of the world, which we had 4 years ago. We had that. We were going up. Nobody's ever seen anything like what we had. I was shaking hands with people. I said, how you doing? We did great 4 years ago, 5 years ago, my company. I made all my money, and now we're not doing good. Everybody said we're not doing well. The taxes are too high. The interest rates, we can't borrow money at 10%. They were at 2% with me. Now they're at 10%, but they're not really because you can't get money at 10%. So that means they're higher. 12. How about 13? How about 15? So it means it's much higher. It's not 10%. You can't get the money. Nobody can get the money at 10%. We will pass tax cuts for workers like you haven't seen before. And we will have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors. No tax. Take a look at this comparison chart. There's nothing like a chart. It's actually not my favorite chart. I have another one that's much more of a favorite, but that's okay. You see that? We went on every, look, it's ridiculous. The whole thing is, this. We shouldn't even have to campaign. This should be an automatic. To bring jobs back and factories back and wealth. All we want to do, we want to bring wealth back to Pennsylvania. We want to bring wealth back to our country. We will have a 15% made in America corporate tax rate. You know, I took it from 39% to 21%. Everyone said it couldn't be done. By the way, Steve Moore was a great guy. Do you know who Steve Moore is? Great economist. He wrote a book, The Trump Miracle. And the book is #1 book, just went out. You know whose book is also like #1? Melania! Her book is #1. Her book is #1. I got a call today. You know who called me? Bill O'Reilly, he called me. Bill O'Reilly. Do you know Bill O'Reilly? I like Bill O'Reilly. He's a good man. He's a good man. And he went through it. But he's very good, and he's very good with books. He said, yeah, Melania replaced me as #1 on the list. I said, that's the way to go. But no, she did a great book. Yeah, go out and get that book. That's a good one. That's a good one. I think she treated me well. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking about it, right? I would stay so far away. I said, do me a favor. I just wouldn't mention it, but now I do. Cutting the tax from 21% to 15%. So we got it down to 21. And then I said, you know what? If we bring it, 21 makes us pretty competitive with the world. Just so you know, our companies are all trying to be stolen. And a lot of companies are lower than 21. So I want to bring it lower, and I wanted to originally. I got it down to 21. Everyone said that was impossible. Got it approved by Congress. But now I want to get down to 15, but only for those companies that make their product in America. Isn't that a good idea? You make your product in America. In other words, you're creating jobs. Think of that. Vivek, is that good? How about that? You know, I got calls from very smart people like Vivek, and they said, where the hell did you ever come up with that idea? How simple is it? your tax is going to go down from 21% all the way down to 15%, which makes us just about the most competitive. I think there's very few. I mean, no great nation, no big nation. We get it all the way down, but you have to make your product here. And I got a call from Wall Street geniuses. Who the hell gave you that idea? That's a great idea. These guys, that's all they do is they think. Nobody ever thought about that. We're taking it down from 21 to 15. And then we have to do something very important. Those who don't make their product in America, and there are those that come in, like China and various others, they will be forced to pay stiff tariffs to, and remember this is a privilege. William McKinley, this is a privilege because it's the privilege of competing with our cherished companies. So we have companies, we have to protect them. And it's the privilege of stealing our jobs, our treasure, and our wealth. They're going to come in, and they're going to have products, and they're stealing from us because they're taking our jobs, they're taking our companies, they're taking our wealth, and that's fine because they have to compete too, but now they're going to have to pay for it. And they'll have to pay, and they'll pay hundreds of billions of dollars in pretty stiff tariffs, but what we're doing is we're preserving our companies, but we're doing something more important. They don't have to pay either because all they have to do is build their plant in the United States of America and hire many of the people in this room. It's very simple. Right? David, are you on board? He's on board. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. If he said no, I don't know if I could have been so enthusiastic about you. No, it'll make us a rich country again. Right now we owe $35 trillion. Because of stupid stuff like this. And other countries, China in particular, they've done this for years and years and years. They built their country with money that we paid them. We're paying them $500 billion on average a year for years. They built their military with our money. So we want them to do well. I want them to do well. You know, I made a great deal with them. They have to buy $50 billion a year of product. I thought they said 15. My guys, I said, what's the number you want? 15. I said, 15. Oh, good. But I thought they said 50. So they came to me, and the deal was almost finished, and it said 15. I said, what do you mean 15? You said 50. They said, no, sir, we said 15. I said, you didn't say. Make it 50. Go back to them, say, we made a mistake. They went back, and China accepted it. They said, can you believe it? But I don't even talk about it because of COVID. I don't even mention it. We have USMCA. We did the deals with Japan, with South Korea. We were screwed by everybody, friend and foe. In fact, the friends did a worse job on us than the enemies. The enemies were gentler to us than many of our friends on trade. But Japan, we redid that deal. We redid South Korea. We redid a lot of deals, and we were respected. You know, 5 years ago, we were a very respected country. And I don't want to say this too loudly because it could happen, but I don't fall downstairs. I don't fall on platforms. I don't fall off bicycles. I have a great memory. I can talk about hundreds of things at one time and always get back to that point that you were trying to make. I can do things that people can't do, but you know what? We have the biggest, this is the most important period in the history of our country because our country, this is a nation in decline. We are a nation in decline. We're a failing nation. We're a failing nation. And they have no clue what to do. She wants to raise everybody's taxes, and what they do, you know, today, they used to go to different states. If Pennsylvania was high, they go to another state. But now they go to different countries. Other countries want our business. They want our companies. And a lot of them have left. The pharmaceutical business left. A lot of industries have left. We're keeping them, and we're going to get all those people back. We're going to make it so they practically have to come back. So we'll take in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs, and we're going to make our country so strong and so rich, it will never be so rich. You know, we used to be an all-tariff country in the 1890s, 1880s, 1890s, early 1900s, all tariffs. That was when our country was the richest it ever was. It was never rich like that. It was so rich that they had to set up a commission, the Great Tariff Commission of like 1887. It had one function, what to do with all the money. We had so much money, we didn't know what to do with it. And then in the 1900s, they brilliantly went to the income tax, where everybody gets taxed, and foreign companies could come in and just steal our treasure and our jobs, steal our wealth. And honestly, we've never really been the same. The country made so much money, and other countries lived. They were fine. But we're like taking care of the whole world, and it's time for the world to take care of us. Does that make sense? Time to take care of us. And we're going to pay off debt, or we're going to reduce taxes still further, because that's what it's all about. We gave you the tax cut, and it was the biggest tax cut in American history. We gave you that tax cut, and we did more business with, our revenues were greater with a much smaller number. You paid much less, and yet as a country, we did much more business. We had great years. My pro-American trade policies are one of the major reasons why I've been overwhelmingly endorsed by the rank and file membership of the Teamsters Union. They haven't endorsed. Including, 65%. I got a 65% number from the Teamsters of Pennsylvania. Is anybody here from the Teamsters? I mean, where are they? I love them. Where are you? I heard that. Yeah, look at these guys. That's great. Thank you very much. That's great. That's great. Thank you. No, we got the firefighters endorse us. You probably heard they haven't. Oh. Wow. Look at that. That's a very good-looking group of human beings, I will say. That's a healthy-looking group. That's nice. That's nice. Wow. Thank you very much. Wow. I didn't know you'd be here. So the firefighters, I guess they haven't. Every year for, 60, 70, some crazy number of years, they always automatically do the Democrats. And the rank and file said, we're not doing that. And they voted overwhelmingly for me. And, the union heads always have a problem with that. They always have a problem. And the same thing happened with the Teamsters. And that's happening also with the auto industry, because United Auto Workers you're not going to have any jobs unless they vote. And if they vote for me, we'll have more autos being made in this country than at any time since the heyday, which was about 60 years ago, because all it is a one-way street out of our country. We're going to rebuild the auto industry in our country. We're going to make it so good and so powerful and so great again. So firefighters, thank you very much. We love you guys. That's good. Teamsters, thank you very much. Great people. No, that's great. See, they don't go necessarily by the heads. Although I have to say the head of the Teamsters is a terrific guy, tough guy, good. He was fine with it. He was okay. He wants to go with, what the people want. Sean O'Brien, he's a great, great guy. And I don't know as well the firefighters, but as far as I'm concerned, he's a great guy. Has to be good. I like people that like me, don't we? I like people. They like me. I like them. So we're pleased. Thank you, fellas, very much. It's great. Any fires lately? Have you put out any fires lately? Any big bad ones, huh? You guys have a lot of guts doing what you do, let me tell you. We're pleased to be joined today by your next Senator, Dave McCormick, and everybody is really, really impressed with Dave. I know him for a long time. Everything was the best. He was the best student. He went to the best schools. He went out in business, became one of the most successful guys, ran one of the biggest funds and very successfully. And I don't know, you sure you want to do this? I think I've talked a lot of people out of it. They see what I go through, I had more investigations than Al Capone. He killed a person a week. Alphonse Capone, the meanest Scarface, the meanest of them all. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone ever even dreamed about. Of course, he used to kill the investigators. I don't do that, you know. You want to come up for 1 second, David? Fast? Come on, David. Come on.
All right, well, thank you. Great to be in Scranton with the next President of the United States. President Trump, we're so honored to have you here, and we are committed in Pennsylvania to putting you back in the White House and changing the majority of the Senate and sending Bob Casey packing. So thank you for being here. And, you know, what happens in Pennsylvania or what happens for the country depends on what happens in the next 27 days. And as you know, Mr. President, I was a wrestler. Lots of wrestlers here in this part of Pennsylvania. And I wasn't the best wrestler, but I always knew in college if I could get into the third period within a point or two, I would win. Because the third period is not about wrestling. It's about mental toughness. It's about heart. It's about staying on offense. It's about fight, fight, fight. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, David. Callista? Are you Callista? We have somebody else that I think is amazing. I had to compete with this guy. And I thought it was going to be easy, but it wasn't. He was nasty. He was quick. He's smart as hell. And he knew things that a lot of people didn't know and didn't understand. He did amazingly well because he started really as a rookie, right? And he got up and he wiped a lot of very smart politicians off the stage. And then one day he came up to me, he goes, you know, I don't think I'm going to beat you. I said, you're not going to beat me. You're not going to. But he's a great guy. I mean, he's really smart, and I hope he's going to be involved in our administration. I do hope that. Because we can put him in charge of one of these big monsters, and he'll do a better job than anybody you can think of. So, Vivek, please, thank you very much. Vivek is a great guy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job. Great job. No, he's tough. Tough, and he's smart. Before I go to a couple of great and really warriors, I want to introduce, in a way, another warrior, Callista. Callista, will you please stand up? Callista? Oh. You can stand up anyway. No, I know, I'm only kidding. I know you are, and I know. Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, darling. Appreciate it. You look great. Thank you. Congressional candidate Rob Bresnahan. Rob, thank you. How's that going, Rob? Good? Thank you very much. County Commissioner Chris Shermack and Mayor. Thank you very much, Chris. Good job you're doing. Mayor Carl Curran. Thank you. Where's Carl? Thank you. He's here. I shook his hand a little while ago. Huh? Oh, hello. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much, Mayor. I also want to send our love to everyone in Florida. They're going through a big one tonight. It's going to arrive tonight sometime around midnight, a little before midnight, and we're praying for them and asking God to keep them all safe, all those people. I've never seen a hurricane like that. I don't know. It's so often, you know, they talk about it and they talk because they want you to watch. This is the real deal. This is a bad one. And we have some great governors, great Republican governors that are in charge, and I think they'll do a phenomenal job. I think they're going to do a phenomenal job. But here are some facts. Kamala Harris is a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crazy Bernie Sanders. Actually, rated even worse than Pocahontas. Has anyone heard of Pocahontas? She was an original creator of Defund the Police movement, and Anybody who wants to defund the police for even 1 week is not worthy of being president of the United States. She was one of the originals. Defund the police. We want to defund the police. You saw when she went up to Minnesota and she was bailing people out that wanted to burn down everything. Remember? They said, oh, it's a friendly protest. This poor idiot from CNN, you stand, remember? He said, this is a friendly, then he got hit in the leg with like a rock or something, a hand grenade. He went down, remember, he went down. He went down! This is a friendly protest. Oh, this is very friendly. And behind him, the entire city of Minneapolis was burning. It was like, it looked like the Second World War. No, it was friendly. It's a terrible thing, but she wanted to bail out all those people that did that and cause death. She got a lot of them out. Kamala Harris vowed to abolish ICE. She wants mass amnesty for all illegals. She wants mass amnesty for people that have literally looked to destroy our country. It's all will go to one thing. It's going to bankrupt your Medicare, bankrupt your Social Security. And we mention again, 325,000 migrant children dead or in slavery right now and just plain missing. She was the Attorney General of the state of California. She redefined child sex trafficking. These are words or phrases: assault with a deadly weapon and rape of an unconscious person. She said, from now on, they will be called nonviolent crimes and reduced sentences accordingly. She pledged to confiscate your guns. She's going to take away your guns. I didn't let anybody touch that. Not an easy issue. I didn't let any. Does anybody in the room, please raise your hand, have a gun? That's a tough job. No, she wants to confiscate your guns and endorse a total ban of handgun ownership. What do you do when a bad guy comes into your house? What do you do? A bad guy walks in and he's got whichever gun you have. If you don't have a gun, you're in big trouble, right? I mean, you need to have, that's what they have the Second Amendment for. You know, the city with the strongest gun legislation. You can't have a gun, you can't get near it, you go to jail forever. Is a place called Chicago, and that's got the worst problem, right? That's got the worst problem. She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention. All paid for by the taxpayer. In other words, if you're being detained and you want a sex change, you can get, by the way, aside from the obvious, not such a great idea, it's a very, very expensive operation. And perhaps most revealing of all, she lied all about so many different things, but she lied about that little thing called McDonald's. She never worked there. And yesterday, Tampon Tim said, you know why they call him that? Because they sell tampons with special legislation in boys' locker rooms. Can you believe it? He says he's a freak. I'm not allowed to say that. I'm not allowed to say that. By the way, can you imagine if this guy happened along, right? Can you even believe this? And yesterday, Tampon Tim said they want to abolish the Electoral College, taking away all electoral power basically from the voters of places like Pennsylvania. Tim and Comrade Kamala are really a true threat. They are a true threat to democracy. I'm not a threat to democracy. I'm the one that's going to save democracy. I'm the one that's going to save it. I'm going to save democracy. They are a threat to democracy, and they really are, too. Also, you know, a big thing that's a threat is incompetence is a threat to democracy. It really is. Because much of the stuff they do, I think, is incompetence. But she's surrounded by very smart, very vicious people that have to be, you know, that are very radical left lunatics, okay? But they are smart, in some cases genius. Look what they could do with elections. Look what they do. They're smart. And we have to be very careful. I talk about the enemy from within. They're the enemy from within. We have the enemy on the outside and the enemy from within. And the enemy, let's say you talk China, Russia, North Korea, you talk about different places. If you have a smart president, that's not going to be a problem. But the enemy from within is a very sick group of people, I can tell you, because I had to go through years of Russia, 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 and they knew it was fake. They knew it was fake. How about this? I have a son, Don, who's a great guy. He knew less about Russia. He knew less about Russia, David, than there's nobody in this room. Is there a child in the room? A child? Is there a young child? Huh? No, he's not that young, ma'am. He's about 70 years old. She's pointing to a guy that's like in his... Where is... Yeah. Okay, so you take a child. You take a child who's 5 years old. He knows more about Russia than my son. He knew nothing. And yet Adam Shifty Schiff came out of an intelligence hearing and he said, Donald Trump Jr. will go to jail for what he did with Russia. And just understand, the whole thing was a made-up scam by him and Crooked Hillary and all these people. It was a scam. It turned out to be, and the writers at the New York Times got Pulitzer Prizes for their excellent journalism. No, but the thing turned out to be a scam. And then they admitted they were wrong. And we're suing the Pulitzer Foundation. We're saying, we're demanding that they retract the Pulitzer Prizes with damages. And we're doing very well in that case. But think of it. Think of it. He knows nothing about, and I call him, I say, are you okay? He said, yeah, Dad, I know nothing about what they're talking about. I have nothing to do with Russia. Absolutely. Here's a sleazebag that goes out and says, my son is going to go to jail on a con job that he made up along with Hillary and some of the others. Now think of it. How bad do you have to be to do that? He knows it's a phony story. They got caught, and now they've all admitted it was a con. It was a hoax, as we said, a scam. And they tell me my son's going to go to jail, and they all know it's a hoax. These are sick people. These are bad people. And we got to beat them, and we got to beat them badly, and we got to get them the hell out of there. We're going to get them out. But with your vote this November, we're going to defeat these radical left lunatics, and we're going to finish the job that we so brilliantly started. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. Think of it, what we had going. On day one, I will seal the border. I will stop the migrant invasion. And we will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. And I don't want to do that. I have a heart. I have a bigger heart than most of the people in this room, let me tell you. But you have no choice. It's not sustainable. We have to get them out. And we start with the worst of the criminals. We start with the drug lords. We start with the worst of the criminals. The illegal migrants coming into our country are taking the jobs of American citizens, the black and Hispanic communities in particular. The black communities, the Hispanic communities, and the unions are coming next. You watch. They're going to go after the unions. They're doing it, and they're here, and they shouldn't be here. I will end inflation, and I will make America affordable again. I will fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare. There'll be no cuts. There'll be no cuts. And we won't be raising the age like they're going to end up doing. They'll be raising Social Security by 5 or 6 years. You watch. Very soon they're going to do it because it's not sustainable what they're doing. We will terminate Kamala's insane electric vehicle mandate. I will stop outsourcing and turn the U.S. into a manufacturing superpower. Working with Elon Musk, we will slash a record amount of government waste. I will end the war in Ukraine, stop the chaos in the Middle East, and prevent World War III. We will prevent World War III. I will crush the violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and the respect that they so dearly deserve. Our police are great. We're going to give them back their authority. It's been taken away. They destroy our police. They take away their house, their family, their car. They take away their pension. They want to do their job. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. I will support universal school choice. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools immediately. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend the Second Amendment, protect religious liberty, and restore free speech, and we will secure, finally, our elections. We will secure them. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda once and for all. We want a landslide that is too big to rig. We want to have it too big to rig. Early voting is underway. Get everyone you know and vote, vote, vote. Get out there and vote. After all we've been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. With your help now until Election Day, this is such an important little period of time. We will redeem America's promise. We will put America first, and we will take back the nation that we all love. We love our nation. As an example, I didn't need this. I could be in the most beautiful beach in the world right now. Instead, I'm in the Commonwealth, which is okay with me. I like this better. A lot of people are in the beach. No, this is much better and much more important. It has nothing to do with like. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country, and together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you. Get out and vote.